Welcome to episode 50 of Book Nerd Paradise, where we get to know an author as they tell us one of their favorite quotes, read from their work, pose a trivia question, and give away a book or two. Hi, I'm LRW Lee, author of the Andy Smithson Epic Fantasy Adventure Series. For those of you who have joined Book Nerd Paradise watching it more recently, I want to make mention of the fact that both the prequel, which is Power of the Air's Passion, as well as Blast of the Dragon's Fury, the ebooks, that's book one, are both available for free download on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Google Play. So if you haven't done so, please do avail yourself of that. The other thing I wanted to mention just in setting up this show is I've mentioned in the last couple of episodes that I do an awful lot of reading of YA sci-fi and fantasy, and those reviews are posted on my blog at blog.lrwlee.com. So go ahead, if you're looking for a new read and you're looking for some, I guess, in-depth insights and critique in terms of what books are good or whatever, you can see my analysis on my blog. So like I said, blog.lrwlee.com. Okay, well, today we have a treat. Today we have YA fantasy author Cheryl Carpinello as our guest. Cheryl is a retired high school English teacher. A devourer of books growing up, her profession introduced her to writings and authors from times long past. Through her studies and teaching, she fell in love with the ancient and medieval worlds. Now, her hope is to inspire readers to read about the worlds of ancient Egypt, medieval Wales, and Atlantis. She loves to travel. Because she's also a retired airline employee, she was fortunate in 2008 to spend 3 weeks in Egypt traveling by local train from one end of the country to the other. Ooh, that sounds interesting. In 2014, she spent 3 weeks in the UK, driving over 1,700 miles through England, Wales, and Scotland. Boy, that sounds like fun. Sign me up. Please join me in welcoming Cheryl Carpinello.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's great to see you today. Very good. So Cheryl, you'll be reading from your YA fantasy novel, Sons of the Sphinx. So that we can get to feel for the book, would you just give us a brief synopsis?
Readers will travel back to 1330 BC Egypt with 15-year-old Rosa. And when she agrees to help the ghost of King Tut find his lost queen, Hensenna, who is an ox and a moon, she doesn't count on. Once back in ancient Egypt, Rosa discovers that finding Hensenna is not all she must do and is not as easy as she thought, even though she carries part of that lost queen in her soul. She must also keep out of the reach of the living Horemheb, who crosses mortal boundaries using Seth's evil magic if she is to make it back home alive.
Ooh, boy, that sounds like it's laced with ancient mythology, I guess. Ooh, that sounds good.
A little bit of mythology, a lot of history.
Awesome. So readers can get, like Rick Riordan reading some of that, readers can get some history along with reading. So Cheryl, you've selected a favorite quote. If you would, share with us what that is and then tell us why it's a favorite.
Okay. My quote is, "Not all those who wander are lost," by J.R.R. Tolkien. I chose that because the last year that I went back and taught after I retired, I taught for a good friend of mine who had terminal cancer. And so I set that on my desk, and it just kind of let me see my way through that whole year where I taught after she had passed away, and just kind of kept my focus. So that's why I chose that.
That's great. Yeah, wow. That sounds like it was a very difficult time. That's great.
It was not easy.
I can well imagine. Yeah. So Cheryl, you're also going to be giving away a book. Would you tell us what you're giving away?
I'm going to give away 2 copies of my novel, Sons of the Sphinx. For U.S. listeners, it'll be an autographed paperback. And for international, it will be an ebook in their choice.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, so whether you're domestic or international, you've got a chance to win either way. So like she said, paperback to US and ebook to international. Okay, so to enter to win, all you need to do is in the comments right down here, right below this episode, leave any sort of comment about the show. It could be what you like. It could be the answer to the trivia question. It could be anything. So just leave a comment, and then be sure that you leave either an email address, a Twitter handle, Facebook, some way to get a hold of you, because I find people do not pay attention to their YouTube mailboxes. So we certainly, if you win, we certainly want to get a hold of you.
Have you ever heard the expression awesome possum? Are you looking for great reads for your kids or grandkids? Award-winning author M.K. Mathias has recently published the first 3 books in the Awesome Possum series for early readers. And the expression awesome possum is apropos because these books have an engaging rhyming tale with full-color illustrations that are sure to keep kids riveted and begging for more. Awesome Possum by M.K. Mathias. Get one or all of them at Amazon today.
You'll be reading from your novel, Sons of the Sphinx. Would you briefly set up the portion you'll be reading from and then share with us?
The portion I'm going to be reading from is King Tutankhamun, King Tut, and Rosa are in the Valley of the Kings. And what they are trying to do is to find out where his queen, Anaxinamun, is buried. And to do that, they have to find the tomb of I, which is A-Y, not I. And because he has been leaving them clues all along as to where to find her. And so they are looking for the next clue, and so it leads them to the Valley of the Kings. Tut leads us back in the hills of the Valley of the Kings to this cliff that looms straight up. If I have to climb that thing, I may just scream. I haven't done that in a while, have I? I stop beside him. He is looking down, not up. At the base of a cliff is a depression and some faint outlines. No way. Are those steps, I ask? Really, no way we have to dig down there. Tut gives me one of those looks I've come to expect when I voice what to him is obvious. Yes, he says. He bends down and starts scooping out the sand which has buried the entrance to his great-grandfather's tomb. Wish I could say I didn't sign up for this, but I'm not really sure what I did sign up for. Joining him, we work side by side in silence, each of us lost in our own thoughts. At least that sounds good. I have no idea what he's thinking. Focusing on the task at hand and ignoring the sun beating on my back occupies my thoughts. I'll be lucky if I have any skin left by the time I get home. Notice that positive thinking? Something keeps poking at my brain, though. Ignoring it, I concentrate on moving sand, now having to throw it up and over my shoulder as we go deeper. The stupid stuff sticks to my sweating hands and arms. Grit lands on me each time Tut throws sand over his shoulder. The hot breeze whips it over him and onto me. A couple of times I try to tell him, but all I get is a mouthful of desert. I cough. Tut pats me on the back like a baby and goes on digging. I thought the priests had a back passage we could use. You know, one that the people didn't know about. I thought I read that somewhere. They do. Well, don't you think that would be faster? Breathing in the dry air brings another coughing fit. Tut starts to pat me on the back. Don't pat me on the back. I'm not a baby, I say, more annoyed than angry at all of this hopelessness. Tut lowers his hand and looks at the steps. Rusa. He always calls me Rusa. He can't seem to say Rosa. We have to get down to the 7th step. That is the doorway to the priest's entrance. I stare first at him, then at the 3 steps we have unburied. 4 more. We've been digging forever and we still need to go down 4 more steps just to find the door? He nods. I bet then we have to unbury the door. He nods again. Something else is wrong, though. My focus wavers again, like it did when we first started. The force inside is stronger now. It's like watching a compass needle waver back and forth until it settles on north. Pain sears through my head. I think I just found north. Ow! Wrapping my head in my hands, I swallow hard in an attempt to keep back the tears and stay upright. Tut cups my chin and looks deep into my eyes, almost, it seems, into my soul. What, Rusa? What's happening? Something is not right. I felt it when we first stood at the top of the steps, but I ignored it. What are you saying? I know now. It's Anaxinamun. I dismissed her gentle hints, and she sent the pain to get my attention. Dumb, huh? She could have just said, Rosa, this is not where you need to be. Here, let me show you. Of course, she doesn't work that way. In some aspects, I sense her power in me weakening. She says this isn't it. We're at the wrong place. And Senna, are you sure of this? My hands go to my head again. Oh, yeah, I'm sure of it. Tut slops down on the step, leaning against the limestone cliff. I don't know where else to go. I don't know what she means. The hopelessness in his voice stirs my heart. Time is running out. I've been in his world for over 2 days. The next step has to be here in front of us. No, not those steps. I'm missing something. Concentrating, I turn and look ahead where the Theban hills rise before me, the resting place for dynasty of kings. We are in the right spot. That certainty sits like cement on my stomach. But if here and not here, where should we be? At whose tomb? Where would I have left another clue, certain that Tut's Ka would find it, knowing that it would lead Tut to him and then to her? Lead me, I plead silently to an ox and a moon. A gentle force directs my gaze back down the trail. A picture forms in my head. A procession is making its way up the valley entrance. Sounds filter through. Weeping, the shuffling of feet carrying a heavy burden. Looking down the valley, the picture in my mind plays out on the very path we took to get here. 12 men struggle with the cart, holding a gold sarcophagus fit for a king. Following behind are 9 people. At their head is a woman, more like a young girl, a teenager, dressed in knight's clothing. The sable cloth flutters like raven's wings in the hot wind. She leans heavily on the arm of an older man who wears what I recognize as the double crown of Egypt. Startled, I look closer. I've seen this before. Think, where would I have seen this? No doubt this is a funeral, a king's burial, but whose? Slowly facts come to me. Only once in Egypt's history has a king taken the pharaoh's crown before the dead king was buried. Only once, but when? What did I read? No way. I look over at Tut. He is watching me, a puzzled look on his face. Is it possible? The reply comes softly, sadly, yes. Sensing there is more, I ask out loud. What are you not telling me? His pain will be great, but if you help him, he can do it. He must do it for us, for his family, for Egypt. The vision fades. Now the limestone hills stand before me. I have another question. Tut stands beside me, saying nothing, waiting. He has heard my questions, but not the answers. Can we go there? No, I will have to take you. You can do that? It will require much strength, but if you hurry, I can. My power is waning. It weakens the closer the time comes to the day I will be no more, the day Horemheb seals his line with his son. And I have to tell him? Tell him, when you do, take his hand, and I will know you are ready. I'm trembling from head to foot, unable to believe this, any of this. I have to tell Tut that we need to attend his funeral, his burial.
That's great. Wow. That's good. I'm like right there, right? Watching the whole thing unfold. That's good. Very well done.
Thank you.
Our guest author last week, YA fantasy author Laura Thalassa, posed a trivia question for us.
My trivia question was, who founded Slytherin House in the Harry Potter series? And the answer to that is Salazar Slytherin.
So Cheryl, you have a trivia question for us. What is it?
It's one that some of your listeners may be familiar with. It's called The Riddle of the Sphinx. It goes with my book, Sons of the Sphinx. And it goes like this. What creature walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs at noon, and 3 legs in the evening?
Cool. Yes, this is a very, very wise and ancient riddle. So for those of you who don't know the answer, make sure that you subscribe to this YouTube channel, because you certainly don't want to miss the answer when Cheryl tells us what it is in the next episode. All right, so please make sure you subscribe. Are there any final thoughts you'd like to leave with our listeners?
Yes, I want to thank you, Lynda, for having me on Book Nerd Paradise. And I'd also like to invite the listeners to come to my home website, Beyond Today Educator, www.beyondtodayeducator.com. I've got all my books listed there that I've done and bits about them, plus the ones that will be coming up in the next few years. And if anybody wants to do classroom visits or youth groups, I've got information on there for them. Okay, well, I hope you all have enjoyed meeting Cheryl Carpinello just a little bit.
I'm LRW Lee, author of the Andy Smithson Epic Fantasy Adventure Series. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, make sure that if you haven't downloaded the prequel and book 1 of the Andy Smithson series, do so today on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or Google Play because they're free. And I would also add both books are award-winning. So make sure you avail yourself of that.
Click the button to subscribe to the Book Nerd Paradise YouTube channel so you don't miss upcoming authors, giveaways, and answers to trivia questions.
Thanks so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, and I look forward to seeing you again next Monday.